Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to talk about what is custom security attributes and how those can be used for different scenarios and different requirements, right? Where we wanted to make sure what are those custom security attributes can be used for different use cases, different scenarios, and different all the requirements for the access control, automation, compliance enforcements. So what is custom security attributes? It is kind of user-defined metadata that we are going to define across the Entra for user service principals, managed identities, devices, and applications, right? Where we are going to provide access controls, compliance enforcements, as well as on the automation side, where we are going to put an extra contextual information from the Entra side to the all of these workloads, which is already not available or kind of not a native solution provided by the identity provider or identity as an Entra as an identity service provider, right? So, so these custom security attributes are going to be added, and from there we are going to manage it for different scenarios or different use cases. So I'll talk more about that later. But before that, I wanted to give you a few features or key features of this capability, right? Where it has a first capability or first feature set is user-defined metadata, right? Where we would be creating an organization's attributes, and basis on that, we would be building a business logic, right? And then business logic is something like at the parent level, there would be a container, and that container would have a lot of different attributes, right? So those attributes can be defined on user identities, devices, and applications, right? So that all of that is going to be managed appropriately, and that is going to be something where we can put an access levels, permissions, granular access on the group basis, as well as application level and system levels, wherever we wanted to integrate it, right? So let's say the next is access control and conditional access policies, where we can provide those attributes on the role-based access control, conditional access, and security level automation as well, right? And then scoped access levels, where we are going to define those attributes with the respective Entra ID roles, so that only those roles would have right set of access and permissions to access a specific area within the particular application, and can limit down the privileged roles or privileged access permissions. The next is API and PowerShell support. It also supports the Graph APIs and Graph PowerShell. So both of those are supported, and that's easy to manage and use by both of those workloads, and it is going to be used for us on different scenarios. And then last is immutable and more secure, right? Where it has, or it can provide us a strict permissions and security controls, where we cannot allow anyone to modify or anything, right? So only those people or only those roles wherever the permissions are granted are able to access and use it, right? So this way it is going to be straightforward, right? So there are real world examples as well, where we would be creating attributes, right? And those attributes includes or would be used with the different use cases like RBAC role assignments, conditional access policies, right? Application access levels, guest user restrictions, as well as license management as well, right? And along with region-based administration as well. So if you wanted to do that, we can use that as well. And on the device compliance and Intune policies as well. So these are the use cases where we can use it and make sure we are going to be able to use that effectively for limiting down, as well as making sure we are going to only put appropriate permissions and access levels to it, right? So now I'm going to talk more about the required roles for this to be able to use it, right? So there are 4 different roles, and those roles are the primary or minimum requirement roles for us to uh, use, or at least those roles should be assigned to the someone who can go ahead and create those custom security attributes, manage those, as well as assign those to the respective groups, users, and devices and applications, right? And those would be something I'm going to show you in the demo as well, but I'm going to tell you those here, which includes the attribute definition administrator, attribute assignment administrator, attribute assignment reader, and attribute definition reader. So these are the four different roles which we can go ahead and use it, right? And also there is something I wanted to talk more on the use cases side, right? As I said, there are different use cases. So first use case includes role-based access control enhancements, where we can use attributes to provide and use the custom security attributes or custom attributes, and those attributes are going to help us in assigning the roles and permissions and everything together. And on the conditional access, as well as the MFA based policies on the attribute side, especially for users, right? And then we can provide appropriate levels of conditions and everything together. Then license and application access management, that is also possible with set of attributes. We would be providing the respective access or respective level of license, and then the user would have access to that respective system to get into the systems or access that particular system basis on the user identity provisioning or enablement or disablement, right? Otherwise, it's going to be something like we are in we are provisioning identity, but if we are not taking appropriate actions, then it is going to be something is not going to be adding or allowing it back, right? So next is delegated administration and scoped permissions. As I said, on the specific regional scope or regional IT administration specific level, we can delegate certain workloads access, and that respective team is going to manage and handle all of that workload. Then employee lifecycle and onboarding automation as well. So we can create and use those attributes for the automation purpose, and this is going to help us to automate certain things, and also is going to allow us to automate the workflows for Entra ID identity governance, as well as using the Power Automate as well. And then on the device management and compliance policies, guest user and external collaboration, then dynamic group memberships for OUs as well. And towards end of this is going to be something where we can manage with those list permissions. As I said, those are the roles by assigning and using, we would be able to do that. So without wasting much time on the talk, I will simply share my screen quickly here and would show you the roles first, and then we can go ahead and talk more on to the creation of those roles and everything together, right? So let's go ahead and let me share my screen quickly here. All right. All right, so I'm on Entra portal and I wanted to show you those roles first. Once you know the roles, then definitely you can assign those roles, and then those roles can be assigned to the users and respective group of people. So under roles and administrators, we can go to roles and admins. And once we are here, we can filter it out and see that. So for now, I have already assigned those roles to the account, right? So I'll search attribute, and those should be listed out here in a moment. You can see that it's loading. That means it's going to, okay, something at 3. All right, so we can see that there are different roles. You can see starting from attribute assignment, assignment reader, definition administrator, definition reader. At least these are the 4 roles that we need to provide. Majorly the administrator roles. Reader role is something which has a reader permissions, but if you have assignment administrator and definition administrator role, that means you would be able to create, manage, update, delete, and everything together. And these are the additional as well, where we have attribute provisioning reader, then administrator, and attribute log reader and log administrators, right? So these are something which we can also assign and provide and use those for different requirements as well, right? So these are the total attributes or the roles, not attributes, and these are the built-in roles. These are not the custom roles. You can see that these are the built-in and we can leverage those. So for now, I have already assigned those to my account, right? And I would be able to go ahead and create roles or create custom security attributes, and then we can go ahead and manage those as well, right? So it says I have global admin plus other 7 roles, and that is why I would be able to do it, right? So we can go ahead and do that. So to do that, we have to go to, let me scroll it down here. Okay, I think it's in here. Secure score, yeah, here, custom security attributes. Here you can see that I have created a few of the containers and I have given it a description and maximum number of attributes that we can create. So by default, you would see the 25 is the default number, but there is a specific limit or range that we can set between 1 to 500, right? So here you can see that highest is set as a 500. So I'll show you by creating that container. So this is going to be the logical container. Let's say I wanted to do it for HR analytics platform. So I'll give it something, HR analytics, something like this one. Okay, I think it is not going to accept the space. Or dash is also not accepted, right? And then I will simply copy it and give it a description. This is for HR analytics workspace platform, something like this. And then you can see that I haven't set up this range. So this is coming automatically and by default it's going to be 25. Now, if I remove it and set it to 0, you can see that it says the value must be between 1 to 500. If I set to 1, it is going to work. If I set to 500, it is going to work. But if I set to 501, it's not going to work because it has a specific range only, which since there was a disconnect, I'll share the screen again. All right, so here you can see that we have to set that specific range. Let's say I would want it to set it 45 and I'm going to add it, right? So I have added it with the 45 number of our maximum attributes, and then I can go ahead and add different attributes to it, right? So once you are here on the screen, you can see that there are different active attributes, deactivated attributes, and roles and administrators. So you would see all those different roles. Those are the built-in roles which are associated with this specific HR analytics custom security attributes, right? And then we can go ahead and assign it to the respective user or to respective person who can manage and create, update, delete, and everything. Now you can see that at the top, add attributes button. So by default, you would not see this button as well as this button until and unless you have appropriate rules assigned to your identity as an administrator, be it those administrator roles. And if you are a global admin as well, you won't be able to see that or you won't be able to use this one because you should have those roles assigned. Then only you'll be able to go ahead and do it, right? So it is something you need to make a note of it and take that action before, and then you can go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and define the attributes. We have done that, manage the attributes, and then assign those attributes. So I'm going to add some of the attributes and I'm going to describe all of these options here. So attribute name, description, and data type. So there are the 3 different data types, which includes Boolean, integer, and string, right? So let's say, as I said, it's for HR system. So I'm going to give it name, maybe name for attendance, something like this. And then I will copy this. So this is for attendance marking and records, right? Now we know attendance is marked either in the numbers or in the string, or it could be true and false, or in Boolean as well, right? So if we set it to Boolean, then you can see that these other options are automatically grayed out or disabled. Those are not available with this data type. If we set it to integer, those are available. And if it is string, then also we can set it, right? So let's say I wanted to set it to string, and then next option says allow multiple values to be assigned, right? We can either set it to yes or no. So multiple values to be assigned to what? This attribute, right? So we can add and allow with this option. If it's set to no, then it is going to straightforward and only allow or assign particular value, right? Next is only allow predefined value must be assigned. Either we can set it to yes or no. If we set it to yes, then we have to define that predefined value here, and whether we wanted to set it to active or no. So predefined value is something which is going to automatically be uh, available for us next time, but that should be defined beforehand with this attribute. Otherwise, it's not going to be available. And if we don't define it, that means we can set any value with this respective attribute, right? So there is no limit on that. But if we set to yes, that means we have to define that value. Let's say I set yes, and I wanted to make sure this value is particularly maybe something like attendance records, right? And then we can go ahead and add this value. So this value is added and is set to active. We can go ahead and delete as well if in case not needed. And multiple as well as not, we can define that as well. Similarly, on the integer side as well, we can do that. And but on this Boolean side, everything goes grayed out and that is not available at all. So definitely it is something where we need to decide what exactly type of attribute it is going to be and then add it and create it. So now let's go ahead and create it. So to create, we need to just save that button, and you can see that attribute is created here with data type and predefined values and everything. We can also edit this attribute and deactivate if in case not needed, right? So, and the same option is here to deactivate at the top, and then to add additional attributes as well, right? So we have seen that how to create one, and once we deactivate, that's going to be landed here and show up, and we can reactivate it back as well. So now I would simply show you how we can assign this attribute to the user account. So let's go back to the users section and find one of the user. From there, we can go ahead and assign it. So I'll simply search for one of the user. All right, so this is the user, for example, and under the custom security attributes, from here, we can assign this attribute. So you can see that I have already assigned one of the attribute, and from here add assignments. So from here, I can assign, this is the container that I had created, right? And from there, we need to select the attribute, which is attendance. And you can see that values, right? So this is the value that I had created, right? Which is predefined value. And we have set it multi-value set as no, but in the previous attribute, it was set to yes, right? So now I have selected this one, and I can simply go ahead and save it or discard it if I don't want to add. And I have saved it now. If I wanted to delete it, I can remove assignments for this particular user account, and if that is not needed, right? Basically, so you can see that this was something which was added custom and manually. So this was assigned value. And that is why you can see that it is added and it is showing this way, right? So this is the way where we can go ahead and assign the respective attribute to the users, devices, and applications as well. Now, you might be saying, okay, so we have assigned this to the user account. So where we are going to use this attribute. So same attribute is going to be integrated and used with applications as well as the policies and the roles and everything together so that we can make sure that user has granular permissions and access levels wherever this user is going to be used or user is going to be access that respective application, right? Even on the application side, if I go to the enterprise applications and I would select any one of the application, probably there won't be much or I won't have maybe any such application where we have added custom security attributes, but I will go ahead and see any one of the applications if I have. Okay, so under custom security attributes, you can see that I have this option here as well. So I can select that attribute and attendance, and I can add that value. So now you can see that whichever application this attribute has, and if I save it, so that means that respective user would have automatically accessibility on this application. So not immediately, but it is going to be providing the particular access levels on that application. And then it is going to be providing access and granular permissions along with, if we wanted to set it up the provisioning as well, we can provision user accounts basis on those attributes, and not everything and everyone should be provisioned to the respective application, right? So this way we can define the attributes and provide the access levels and make sure user has the right set of permissions and access levels, right? So yeah, that is what I wanted to show you in this video and talk about. And I know there is a lot more to talk about this topic, and there are so many different scenarios and use cases, right? But if I were to go through all those topics and everything together, that means it's going to be confusing at one point and maybe not clear for understanding, and maybe just the information is something kind of not enough, right? So yeah, that's all for this video I wanted to talk, and hope you will like video. Please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel as well. And don't forget to share this video with your friends, colleagues, and who are needs to see and watch. And also watch other videos around Azure Microsoft 365, Entra ID, and many other topics, right? So you would see so many topics on the channel, and I'm sure you would learn something new each and every video, right? And yep, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.